Hello and welcome. My name is Kim with Lotus Within Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for today's yin class for anxious times. This is my poodle Desi. She's the love of my life and she goes everywhere with me, so don't be surprised if you've seen some of my other videos and she shows up. Today, I woke up anxious. There's a lot going on in the world. The pandemic seems never ending. I live in Alberta. We've been in a fourth wave for a while and now we're entering new restrictions. Life is it's a lot right now. So I really wanted to create something that helps show you guys how to take care of yourself when you're feeling anxiety in your life, because yoga is my go-to when life just tends to be a little bit much. So I encourage you to find a bolster or a rolled up blanket, even some yoga blocks, maybe a book, whatever you need to start your class, and let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start today's class laying in Sphinx position. So go ahead, find yourself laying down onto your stomachs, with your feet extending back down the mat. Maybe propping our elbows underneath our shoulders, taking them a little bit wider if our bone structure is saying we need more space. Or maybe if you have that bolster, grabbing that, hooking your arms over, and relaxing into the posture. And breathing. I enjoy Sphinx a lot because I used to struggle with it a lot actually, but now I find it quite comforting. It really encouraged the nice convex of our lumbar spine and puts that back into its natural position. A lot of us tend to hunch over as we're at our desks or on the computer, maybe watching TV or just flipping through whatever on your phone on the couch. You tend to hunch over and it just really kind of puts your lumbar in the wrong kind of curvature than you actually want. So this is always a great way, to straighten that back out. The Psoas starts at the bottom of your thoracic spine and goes into the top part of your lumbar spine. And then it attaches down into your femur on the greater trochanter, the inside of your leg. And it's really the muscle that attaches your trunk, your body, to the rest, to your legs. So it's so important, and it makes up a lot of the intricacies of our pelvis. Emotions are kept in our hips. So when we start to open up and extend and lengthen through our psoas, it really can tap into that emotional response. Anxiety also has a lot to do with the nervous system. It's being overactive. Our psoas touches up against our adrenal glands, and it can send us into that fight, flight, or freeze sensation feeling. I like to go and quote Anadea Judith when she says, "Without an emotional literacy, a whole dimension of human experience and connection is lost. Without the ability to read our own needs and feelings, we are unable to meet them and remain trapped until the message is finally interpreted." In my own interpretation of that talks directly to our psoas muscles. Finding our hips tight, finding our lower back tight. If you start to open and strengthen and lengthen through the pelvis, you can really actually quite tap into your emotional state at the same time. The psoas is incredibly powerful. So let's send it some love. Take another inhalation and exhalation here. And if you're up on a bolster, start to push that gently away. And lowering ourselves down, placing our forehead on top of our hands, and just taking a moment to feel what we feel. Soften it and let it go. And slowly, there's no rush, bring yourself up to your tabletop position. Okay, we're going to do a set of different lunges. So this might be where you want to grab your blocks. It might help you in these postures. We're not actually going to stay in them super long. So let's start with our right leg forward. I'm going to take my blocks and put them on either side of me on the tallest position. Taking my right foot forward, stacking my knee over top of my ankle. Bringing ourselves up, making sure that our pelvis is square and our tailbone is pointing down. Only coming into this lunge into whatever is most comfortable for you. Just because you can do a lower lunge does not make you a better person. Be gentle on yourself, especially if you're anxious. Kindness is what your body needs. I encourage you to try and stay as upright as possible in this low lunge. Not dumping our weight into the lower back, but stacking our shoulders above our hips. Lunging just enough so that you can feel it into your left leg. Opening up those hip flexors. Getting into our hips can feel quite vulnerable. So just notice what the narrator inside your head is telling you. And let it go. Feel it, acknowledge it. And let it go. If you find that you're getting a little bit of tension on your left knee from it being on the ground, you can always grab a blanket or a towel and kind of walk and fold that up and put that underneath. Take another inhalations and exhalation here. Maybe you're going to just take your blocks and pop them to the side. Bring your hands to frame your right foot. Then you're going to take your right foot and you're going to heel toe it out a little bit to the side. Bringing your hands onto the inside of your right leg. You can come onto the edge, the outer edge of your right foot, sending your knee out to the side a little bit. Coming into winged dragon. Staying upright on your hands here. Or maybe walking your arms forward if this is accessible to you. There's no need to push it. This is yin. We just want to feel it. Only coming to your edge. If your edge is up here, that's perfect. Listening to our bodies. Being gentle with our thoughts, with our intention. Staying connected to our breath. Won't be here long. If you're down on your forearms, gently start to bring yourself back up to your palms. Come back to the sole of your foot. And start to walk that foot back in between your hands. We're going to come into bowed dragon. So you're going to start to straighten through your right leg, coming into that half splits leg position if you were doing hatha. Peeling your toes up towards you. Seated bones still raised, hips still square. And if it's available for you, again, using your blocks if you need to. Maybe your boat dragon looks like this. Maybe it looks like this. Just only coming as far as what serves you. You don't need to cause yourself any extra anxiety. It's just yoga. Excellent. We're slowly going to walk our hands back forward to frame our right foot and then step back into your tabletop. No rush, just taking a few moments, feeling the difference between the two hips. If some cat-cows call to you, feel free. Take a few. Move in whichever way your body needs. And when you're ready, let's switch to the other side. Bringing our left foot in between our hands, stacking our knee over top of our ankle. Maybe finding our blocks. Encouraging nice square hips. And the tailbone dropping down to the floor. Staying upright, crown to the ceiling. And lunging into this right leg. Opening up through these hip flexors. Only coming as far as we need to, just so that we're feeling it. It's not a competition. This is time for you. This is self-care. And through these anxious times, self-care is so important. I'm a mother. If I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my child with my full abilities. And it also teaches my daughter that she needs to put herself first and that she can take care of herself. These are very important things I find as a mom to teach. Self-regulation is so important. My yin practice helps me self-regulate. Breath work helps self-regulate. All these beautiful things. If we just set aside the time, a few minutes every day to practice them. All right, you you can take your blocks and walk them out or step them to the side, place them to the side, wherever you need. Bring your hands back down to frame your foot. And then put your hands on the inside of your left foot as you walk it out to the side, coming onto the outer edge of our foot into Winged Dragon. Staying upright like here. Collarbones nice and broad. Or maybe coming down to your forearms. You can always use blocks. And come to your forearms on your blocks as well. Just playing with it, seeing what works for you. Our psoas is so important, and it's not actually talked about enough. A lot of people have quite a lot of tightness into their psoas because it is a hip flexor. And us sitting at tables, driving in our cars, sitting on the couches, shortens our psoas muscle. If you're down on your forearms, start to walk your hands back underneath and bringing and slowly stepping your foot in between your hands. And when you're ready, we're going to come into that bowed dragon, sending the hips up and back and straightening through our left leg, maybe walking it forward a little bit if you need a little more space. Doing a nice stretch through the back of our leg and through our hamstring and through our calf. Doing these different types of postures to open up through our psoas is going to help with a lot of your everyday movement. Like I said, we're on the couch, we're driving, we're sitting at a desk. It really shortens that psoas muscle over time. So doing what you can to really just lengthen out through your hip flexors will really help not only your nervous system, but your hips in general. Like I said before, we carry a lot of tension in our hips, and that tension also means emotion. So if you're feeling emotional or overwhelmed, start opening up those hips. Happy hips mean a happy life. Taking another deep inhalation and exhalation here. And slowly bending back into our left leg, coming back into tabletop. Maybe finding a few cat-cows. We're going to come into half saddle from here. So sitting down on your bottom, sending your feet out in front of you, readjusting, taking the flesh away from our seated bones, taking the right knee. Now, if you have any knee issues, please, this is probably not going to feel very good, but just give it a try. We don't want to put any tension on the knee, but saddle actually does create a tiny little bit of rotation in our knee, and our knees aren't really meant to rotate, so just a lot of caution and care when you do this. So taking our right foot and bringing it back next to your hip. taking your calf muscle, peeling it away, sending your knee as straight forward as possible. Maybe your half saddle looks like this and your knee is coming out here. That's fine. You do what you need to do to make yourself comfortable. Knowing that at any time, if this is too much for you, go ahead and find yourself back in a Sphinx pose. So from here, we're stretching out through our quad muscles here. And what you can do is you can either lean forward or you can start to bring the body back. Maybe coming onto your elbows. Maybe coming onto a bolster. We won't be here long. Breathing. Ensuring that our tailbone is still connected to the mat. If this is as far as you can go, it's just fine. You're still going to feel it. Chances are a lot of people are going to feel this posture. I love saddle, but not everybody does. Knowing that at any point in time, if this is too much, find yourself in Sphinx, which is what we started our practice with. If you were down on your elbows like I am, slowly start to walk the body back forward. Gently and mindfully take your right foot and extend it back out in front of you. Maybe shaking out the knees. Now we're going to do that on the opposite side, on our left side. Maybe removing the fleshy bits of our bottom again so that we're rooted down on our tailbone. Taking our left foot and bringing it back to our outer hip. Knee might face forward, knee might send out to the side. Just listening to our knee as to what it needs. Again, finding Sphinx if this is uncomfortable for you. There is a difference between discomfort and pain. That's a really interesting thing to think about when you're getting into your yin practice. Pain is something you want to listen to. That's your sharp, tingling way that pain can represent up in your body. Discomfort, well, sitting in a little bit of discomfort never hurt anyone. When we sit in that discomfort, we actually grow. And that's kind of what you want to do with yin. You don't want to be uncomfortable. You want to feel that little slight discomfort, but never any pain. Listening to our breath. I said before, breath work helps a lot with the psoas muscle. The psoas has a lot of connective tissue and fascia that are actually pressed right up against your diaphragm. So when you are doing your big deep belly breaths, you are also activating that nervous system with your fight, flight, or freeze. Just calming it down, letting it know that you're safe. Or maybe you're not. That's what that nervous system is for. We just need to gently guide it back into a state of comfort when the threat is actually not as imminent as it may feel. If you were down on your elbows, slowly start to walk yourself back up forward. Gently and mindfully bringing that left foot back out forward. And maybe shaking it out just a little bit. All right, and when you're ready, we're gonna actually bring it on back and lay down onto our spines. Finding a nice, comfortable position. Hugging your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little squeeze. Maybe rocking back and forth, massaging out your lower back. And when you're ready, we're going to just gently guide our knees over to the right, coming into a gentle twist. Sending the arms out to the side, or maybe a cactus position if you don't have a dog in the way. Encouraging our left shoulder blade to the mat. Maybe using a block under your knees, between your thighs, whatever serves you today. Not only is this twist really nice to end our practice with, just to help out our lower back, opening it up, stretching it out, lengthening it. It's also very detoxifying for the body, activating your liver meridians, helping flush, helping flush out through the liver and the kidneys. Slowly, one knee at a time, coming back through center, hugging the knees in, maybe rocking and rolling out that lower back. And then when you're ready, gently bring those knees over to the left. Encouraging that right shoulder down to the mat. And breathing, sending your breath right to the lower back, enjoying this twist. Now very mindfully, one knee at a time, no rush. Bring yourself back up through center, hugging the knees into the chest. And then releasing out into your Shavasana. Legs extend down the mat. Feel free to take up some space. Legs nice and wide, arms nice and wide. Palms up, feet relaxing and flopping out. Lengthening our spine, really feeling the earth beneath you, and softening, melting away. Softening through the eyes, the eyebrows, through your cheeks, through your jaw, melting both arms, deep heaviness of your body, surrendering to stillness. Slowly bringing your awareness back to your surroundings. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And exhale, side out. Let's do one more of those. Inhaling through the nose, expanding the belly. And exhale, side out, let it go. Bringing movement back to your body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Rolling out through the wrists and the ankles. Reaching overhead for a big, good morning stretch. And slowly, however you need to, bringing yourself back up through center and finding a comfortable seated position. Thank you so much for joining me for today's yin class. I really hope that it helped calm you down, ground yourself, make you feel safe. Thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe. See you next time. Namaste.